What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Make sure you all smash up the like button. We're going to get the live stream started. In just a few moments, I'm going to bring on my guests. And at the meantime, we're going to take a look at the charts, see what is going on, because cryptos are looking very good. Make sure you smash up the like button if you love Dogecoin and cryptocurrencies. Share this link on your Twitter, on your Facebook. We'll get some people in here. And thank you all for coming this lovely Friday evening. It's great to see you all here. But Dogecoin is definitely looking very good. Take a look at the charts here. Charts are looking very bullish. So I wanted to add background music, but I'm using a new program because I've never used guests before, never brought guests before on the show. So it's kind of difficult to add background music like we normally do. We always love to have the house music in the background, but we're not going to have that tonight. So you'll just hear my voice and the lovely voice of my other guests who are going to be on the show in just a second. But the really cool thing about seeing cryptos today is cryptos were in a very strong downtrend. And they were in a downtrend for a while. But the cool thing is, just hours ago, and even last night, Bitcoin, as we know, is pretty much, the whole market. Everything moves according to Bitcoin. And, Dogecoin is based off of Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin is down, for the most part, Dogecoin will be down. When Bitcoin starts moving up, Dogecoin can pump and continue to go up just like all the rest of the cryptos. But Bitcoin was in this downtrend for such a long time. Look at this very clear downtrend. We were in this channel, just headed all the way down. But as of yesterday, we broke out of it, ended up coming back into the pattern and breaking out of it right now. So the whole crypto market is looking very good. And why is that? Why are cryptos going up right now? That's a very good question. And the reason is because there's a huge options expiration for Bitcoin. And options expiration is when people bet for things to go down, people bet for things to go up. And people make money when the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are at a certain level. So now that the options expiration is over, there's people trying to suppress the price of cryptos. It's over with. It expired today. It's done with. So now we see a massive pump up afterwards. So that's kind of like what we're starting to experience now. And are you guys able to hear me well here? Are you guys able to hear me clearly? And make sure you all smash up the like button. Let's get this stream started, get some more people in here. We haven't done a live stream in a while, but definitely looking forward to do some more. But cryptos are definitely looking very good. Getting back to the chart. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at Dogecoin. So Dogecoin was definitely, it was looking earlier this afternoon. Cryptos were starting to head down. And I was like, guys, it's starting to look kind of bearish. And just a couple of hours ago, things started to turn around. So it's definitely good to see Bitcoin almost 34,000. Dogecoin is still hanging around 19 cents. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, why is Dogecoin hanging around 19 cents when Ethereum, Bitcoin, and everything else is pumping? The reason is because Dogecoin just 2 days ago went up 21%. We went to 22 cents. So whenever there is big pumps in a particular crypto, maybe the next day while the other cryptos didn't pump while that crypto pumped, you can see that crypto is kind of just chilling. So that's kind of what's happening for Dogecoin. And a lot of times when Dogecoin is underperforming the market and we see other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum pump, and Dogecoin is not really doing much, generally what happens is after those cryptos pump for some reason or whatever it is, we start to see Dogecoin maybe do some crazy things. So overall, the crypto market is looking good. We're seeing a recovery. That's what we need because we're in a very strong downtrend for, almost 2 months, just pretty much going down and down. We'd have a little pump, a little fake out, and then down and down and down and down. So maybe if we take a look at Bitcoin, this shows us the whole crypto market. Maybe this was the bottom. Maybe this is the reversal that's going to bring us into the second bull run. This could be the lowest of the low that we will ever see again for cryptos. This could have been the bottom. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my other guests. We have Nick BALLZ. He is a Dogecoin millionaire. We have STEELE. He has his own YouTube channel. He has a daily Doge YouTube video. A daily Doge live stream is one of the best live streams for Dogecoin, in my opinion. Every night, he lives out west, so his streams are a little bit late, maybe for some of you, but I definitely try to tune in every single week, every day if I can. And they're definitely big proponents to the Dogecoin movement. They're both very well connected to many individuals and the higher ups as far as any connections to Dogecoin are concerned. So first, I'm going to bring on Nick BALLZ. I'm sure a lot of you already know him. And Nick, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, brother? How are you doing?
Doing very good. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is, I think we're your first guests. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're also going to bring on Steven Steele. Steven, how are you, man?
Hey, Myles. Good to see you, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Great to be here.
Awesome. So we're first going to start off with Nick. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've been buying and trading crypto for almost a decade. I bought my first Bitcoins in 2012 after seeing I was working just a dead end job, and I saw a news story at Olive Garden about Bitcoin being this new digital currency, and I just thought it was really cool. So I bought my first Bitcoin in 2012. 2013 rolled around and Dogecoin was created. And I heard about it on Reddit. I can't remember like who pointed me in that direction. And I ended up reading some stuff from Billy. And at that point I had been using my own, like my personal, like bank, money that I was making for my job to buy crypto. But in early 2014, I decided to take out a $15,000 loan from the bank. I needed to build my credit. I was in my early 20s. I was out of college. I was looking to build my credit. And to me, 15 grand was not that much. It was, I had to make payments, but it wasn't like make or break. So I took out a $15,000 loan and I put 10,000 of that into Dogecoin in January or February 2014. So about 2 months after Doge was created.
That's amazing. What was the price of Dogecoin at the time?
We were trying to figure out I've been trying to figure out my average price because of taxes now. I hadn't looked at it in 7 years. I think my average price was 0.0007.
Wow, that's crazy.
But it was that. That's just a guess. It was. There was definitely 3 zeros in there. I don't know. I remember that my first purchase was 4 million coin, and then I bought. I just kept buying it over the course of a few months, and then the exchange that I bought it from went under, and all my friends who bought Dogecoin off of my recommendation, I told them get your coins, get them off the exchange, put them in Dogecoin Core, and they didn't do that. They left them on the exchange, and it was called Cryptsy, if anybody remembers that from way back when. And the exchange folded and they lost everything.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're definitely sitting on substantial profits right now, huh? With Dogecoin.
Even where we're at right now, we're talking about multi-million-dollar stuff. At the peak, it was, it was a lot of money. That's cashed really cool. So far, I've only cashed out $1 million.
Okay.
So I'm just I'm not one of these greedy, like, I don't, I like nice things and, I have my vices and whatnot, but, I'm not looking to blow millions of dollars in like a year or anything. I'm happy letting the market mature a little bit more.
Right. That's awesome. And Stephen Steele, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Sure. I kind of accidentally found myself being a crypto content creator. I used to make my living as a recording artist for many years, doing a lot of touring and things like that, both as a DJ, live band. And I've been into crypto. I bought some Bitcoin in 2014, 2015, right in there. And I just monitored my Bitcoin investment for a while, and that was pretty much the extent of my crypto investments until a couple years ago when I discovered Doge and a couple others, Ethereum, and started some small investments there. And then I kept getting this feeling about Dogecoin. I was just seeing this very unique movement, this populist movement just rising up behind it that I just found this fascinating and exciting. So then I made a much more sizable investment into Dogecoin at the 2 cent marker, and made several investments in Doge since then. And then I started doing some few guest spots on other people's crypto channels, and then I just went full on in doing this full time, creating very Doge centric content, most pretty much night after night. Many of those nights flanked with Nick BALLZ as one of my go-to co-hosts, among others. And we just had you on for the first time a couple nights ago. It was awesome. So yeah, I think I'm just bringing something unique into the crypto space, unique into the Doge space. It's more of my live streams a bit more of like a talk show format, but we talk a lot about Doge. We do some technical analysis, but we also do just a lot of talk about what's going on in not only just with the charts and everything, but the culture of Dogecoin and all the characters and quirks that go along with all this stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone here should definitely go follow Stephen Steele's YouTube right now. Make sure you subscribe because he puts out daily Doge content and he gets the inside scoop. He brings developers, he brings big people in the industry that are close to Elon Musk. Potentially Elon Musk will go on his show. So it's definitely an amazing show to hear. Definitely check out their socials, their Twitter are also very good. Definitely check out Nick BALLZ, his Instagram. I know he started a little bit of a YouTube channel and he also is really big on Twitter. So you guys should definitely subscribe and follow to them. So awesome. But the cool thing about both of them, thank you guys for coming on the show, is like I just said, they have very strong connections in the Dogecoin community and not just, like big YouTubers or whatever. They have like the inside scoop to maybe people that, aren't really well known, but are well known by the people that need to be known, who are, helping to make Dogecoin what it is today. And one of the cool guests that has been on Stephen Steele's show lately is Ross Nicole, one of the Dogecoin developers, a core developer. I forgot what he likes to be called, but he's definitely a part of developing Dogecoin. And they've been talking with Elon Musk and Vitalik Buterin, the founder and creator of Ethereum, to help make Dogecoin better. And there's some really good things that are in the charts for Dogecoin that are happening behind the scenes that isn't really well known. And one of those is the Doge to Ethereum bridge, where we see Dogecoin has a utility use of, making purchases and transactions. And they're making right now, they're working on making the Dogecoin transactions to be like almost, like nothing compared to every single crypto. So it's going to make Dogecoin one of the strongest competitors in the crypto space for transactional uses. If you were to try to use Ethereum or Bitcoin to make transactions, just using the base layer, there's a lot of fees, there's gas fees, and it can be very expensive and almost, it wouldn't be a feasible option to buy Bitcoin, to use Bitcoin or Ethereum to buy certain things. But Dogecoin, it's a feasible option now, but they're making it the most feasible, in my opinion. So that's what Dogecoin can do. Ethereum is, a smart contracts platform. It's a blockchain network. It's so many different things. There's 100 other cryptocurrencies that are built upon the Ethereum network. And what it can also do is the smart contracts, like it do NFTs and decentralized applications can be built upon it. So it's almost like the internet of cryptocurrencies. So what they're working on right now is a Doge to Ethereum bridge where Dogecoin can use the smart contract utility on the Ethereum network, but still remain Doge. So, Steve, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the other developments and that development that I just spoke about for Dogecoin that you're hearing and talking to the developers about?
Yeah, really fascinating stuff. And this is something I've been talking quite a bit about on my show because it's my belief, anyway, that I think over the long term, the bridge between the bridge and the workings between Doge and Ethereum could very well be the most significant thing to happen in the entire crypto market right now. And just as I've brought up a few times now in the 3-hour podcast with Lex Friedman and Vitalik Buterin, Lex asked Vitalik, where do you see the order of cryptos coming in the future? And he said, well, Dogecoin at least at number three, if not number 2. Now, why would he say that? Now, why would the predominant creator of Ethereum say such a thing? I think he's saying such a thing because he's seen potentially a decent potential that we could be looking at a future in which Bitcoin dominance finally comes to an end, where Ethereum surpasses Bitcoin, Doge potentially even taking over the number 2 spot, and our solid digital gold at number 3, right? And what's even more fascinating is what we have learned through one of the Dogecoin developers, Mishi. She did recently confirm that the Doge Ethereum bridge has already been created. Right now, it's just being fine-tuned. So this is just an exceptional timeline that we're on. I don't think anybody anticipated for things to come together this quickly. And this shows me that there has been a lot of focus, aggressive focus from all parties, from Vitalik Buterin to Ross Nickel, which is pretty much the guy that's spearheading a lot of this stuff. And I'm in regular contact with Ross, and I'm going to actually be on a guest on his stream on the August 1st. So the Ethereum development team with Ross, with Elon in the mix, with Vitalik Buterin, these are aggressive efforts on all sides to make this collaboration with Dogecoin and Ethereum a reality. And I think this is going to be perhaps the biggest game changer in the crypto market.
That's awesome. Is there anything that you can add on to like what I said? What is the Doge to Ethereum bridge? What does that encompass? Is there anything addition as to what I said, or is it still like pretty difficult to explain because it's pretty much all programming like language and stuff, right?
Yeah. To be honest, Ross has explained what he can to me so far, and it's somewhat Greek to me. But there is going to be a lot more information, as my understanding. There's going to be a lot more information coming in the very near future as far as what they can tell the rest of us, as far as the practicality of it, what this exactly means. Basically, what I can tell you from what I understand of it so far is that Dogecoin is basically the strengths of Dogecoin are going to fill in the gaps of Ethereum's weak points and vice versa, right? So it's going to give Dogecoin greater versatility while strengthening transaction speeds and fees for Ethereum.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. So it's not just like what Doge can benefit off Ethereum, they're trying to benefit off of the things that Dogecoin can do too.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think we would have been seeing such aggressive and open efforts from Vitalik Buterin and his team to make this happen, unless that was the case. So I think that I'm very bullish on Ethereum long term as well. So between Ethereum and 2.0 and this bridge, I think the future looks extremely bullish, extremely well for both Dogecoin and Ethereum.
Let me get to a couple of super chats. Jeremy
Yep.
Abbott, the real deal. Thank you very much for that. And then we had Terry. Thank you very much for your super chat. Doge Momentum happening right here, right now with you guys. Absolutely. Nick, do you have anything to add onto the Dogecoin Ethereum bridge?
Yeah. So technically speaking, you're going to be changing. You'll be able to wrap your Doge to Ethereum. What this will give Doge holders the ability to do is use Doge just like Ethereum. So you can buy NFTs with it. You can stake it in certain places. But more so for Ethereum, Ethereum, for those who don't know, it's run up against a scalability issue in terms of speeds and increasing their network. So, we know they run ERC20 as their subchain, but with that comes a lot of added tokens and a lot of extra data. I think the idea to bring Doge to Ethereum and create that bridge is to be able to add an extra arm of scalability via decreased fees. That Doge, is like one of the cheapest coins to run as far as transaction fees go, and then the speed for Doge is not too bad either. I know Elon proposed some speed increases that he'd like to see. And I know Billy, I was listening to Billy on Benzinga earlier today, and, decreasing the fees, that's easy. That's already being done. But when it comes to increasing the speed of something, that's a totally like, I don't know if there's computer scientists out there who have figured that one out yet. And Ethereum is, everyone's waiting on Ethereum 2.0 to come out, and they're fixing those issues. So we'll see. But I think the Dogecoin to Ethereum bridge is going to be hugely beneficial to the ETH community, and greatly, it'll bring a great new use case for Dogecoin going forward.
Absolutely. So, very well said. Nick, how do you feel? You've been in cryptocurrencies. Both of you guys have been in cryptocurrencies a lot longer than myself. And, as we know with cryptocurrencies, there's cycles, there's bull cycles, there's bear markets and bear cycles. And, those terms are pretty well understood by most people. But here's the question. A lot of people, like I hear BitBoy Crypto, he says, well, I think, around November, it's going to be the end of the bull market, and we're going to go into a bear market and a bear this and that. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, had the most money in it always had the most money in it for the most part. Bitcoin went in cycles, right? It did this and that. But what was propelling Bitcoin was mostly retail investors. The difference between the last bull cycle and, those different cycles that we've had previously is not only do we have retail investors, but we have whales, we have major institutions, every bank, we have countries getting involved in cryptocurrencies. And then we have way more retail investors. The amount of people that were investing in the stocks and just, anything similar to that back in 2014, 2016, 2018 is much less than the amount of people that were brought into the market since the last year or year and a half ago, whenever it was, with the whole shutdown and everything. So the amount of people in this space, the amount of money that's in this space is totally different. So do you think that these cycles, I'm going to ask both of you, but we'll start off with Nick first. Do you think that those cycles are going to be relevant to, the current cycles now, or do you think things will be different? What is your opinion on that?
Well, I will say that this has been one of the oddest bull cycles of them all. Very strange. The factors you mentioned are all extremely valid. And I know you're a big market cipher guy. I watch Crypto Face all the time. I know about the Three Amigos, like, and it's true, to some effect. Each, over the past 3 bull cycles, we've seen the same thing. We've seen this level, reach up to all-time high, decrease about 50%, which is where we're at now, and then another 50% after that, which is kind of like we're in limbo right now, right? We're waiting to see. You're correct, about all of these things, about the financial institutions. One of the biggest contributing factors, in my opinion, is Tesla's buy-in to Bitcoin. Their average buy-in was like 30 grand.
Right.
So there's a huge like institutional wall at like this $30,000, between $28,000 and $30,000 level that we have yet to dip below. I mean, we've gone pretty, we've touched it, but we haven't broken it. And I think that's because a lot of institutions and corporations bought in around that same time. This is when Coinbase was making a big push to gather large corporate accounts. I don't know. What I will say is that I told Steven, I went down to Florida back in June. And I told Steven before I left, I was like, I'm going to be off the show for like a week. I'll come back. And he asked me before I left, like, what my opinion of the market was. And I told him, we will know by like the end of July or the beginning of August. Because we've touched, this, I told somebody earlier, Sir Doge of the coin, actually, he had posted something about, breaking a certain level. I was like, realistically, we need to break the 200 exponential moving average on Bitcoin. It's at like 44,500. We've touched that, 3 times now. And I would like to see that 200 EMA be broken and confirmed. If we can break through that and confirm it, I would be a lot more assured to make a very like solid prediction. Until that happens, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you bring a valid point, but Steve, what is your position with, cryptos have been in cycles and, are they going to kind of do the same thing again with all of these different entities and people and the different amounts of money that's in crypto? Do you see like, these bear markets? Because bear markets traditionally last like 2 years. And there was an analysis showing the bear markets and the bull cycles. And the bear markets are actually being cut in nearly half every single time now. So the corrections, that lasts a period of time where the prices are just going down or sideways and pretty much just consolidating, those time periods continue to get less and less and less. So what is your opinion on, do you think we're going to have these cycles again? Or are the cycles going to be different? Do you think maybe like cryptos will start moving up like, the S&P 500 now that there's so much money into it and it's going to keep the adoption growth continues to go up and up and up? What do you think, Steve?
Yeah. That's the $1 million question, right? Well, firstly, I would definitely echo what Nick BALLZ said about the threshold point being the 200 exponential moving average. Outside of that, I feel very confident where we're at right now. I know it's easy when you're really caught up in one certain particular cryptocurrency and you're checking those charts on a daily basis, like so many in Dogecoin do. So it's easy to kind of get caught up, right? Where people, I've been seeing it even with some of my own audience where they're like, well, we were at 72 cents and now we're at 19 cents. What the heck's going on? And this, that. I'm like, guys, just everyone relax, because when we look at the overall algorithms and patterns of how crypto has moved over a period of years, this is really what we're going through right now is both not uncommon and not particularly severe either. Now, so do I think that we are going to reach a point of bullishness where we're going to blast through all previous all-time highs? I do. Yes, I do. And far beyond that, particularly when it comes to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. But there's also some new wild card factors here, right? And this is what we don't quite know what is going to be the how much of this is going to factor in. What I mean by that is there are some new dynamics at play that weren't there before. There's over 10,000 cryptocurrencies technically on the market right now. A lot of them BSC tokens. A lot of people playing around the BSC markets. I conducted a poll among my own audience, and it was a very interesting response I gave. And the question was, how much of your investments are going into BSC tokens as far as the percentage of your portfolios? And one of the options I said 0 to 10%, then 10 to 20%, and then 30 or 20 to 30%, and then 40% or more. The overwhelming majority of my viewership answered about 65%, maybe around there, as I recall, said 0 to 10%. But then most of the rest of the people said 40+% of their portfolios were going to BSCs and hardly any answers in between, which surprised me. I was relieved to see the 10% and under, because that is what I teach on my channel. And I've made a few videos about this, addressing this thing. I'm not a purist in terms of I don't say you should never invest in BSC tokens, but I do give caveats so that investors understand that I call any cryptocurrency that requires pancake swap, I consider that to be a term that I coined called the red light district of crypto. I consider pancake swap to be the red light district of crypto. It's, you just got to be careful. You got to be careful going in. So it's a much higher risk. It's high risk, high reward, but I need to emphasize the high risk to people. And, when you do invest, if you do decide to go in that sector of the crypto market, make sure you're having fun in terms of make sure you're not investing significant portions of your portfolio. Make sure it's 10% or less, guys. That way you're having fun. And if you happen to get a BSC that pops and you're able to turn a good profit on it, quickly get out. Another word of advice, not to go on a tangent here, but I think this is important, Myles, because I have been seeing so much emerging interest in the tokens. And I think this is important information to get out for people. Each one of these tokens creates a Discord group and a Telegram group, right? And yeah, and so it's easy to get caught up in these little cultural bubbles, right? Where you invest in like baby Shiba of, swap, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you find yourself checking in with that community in their Discord and their Telegram every day. And every one of these communities, they're going to say the same exact damn thing. They're going to say, hold at all costs, right? Hold at all costs. Your Lambo's right around the corner. I know it's spiking right now, but don't sell it because it's going to even go wilder. Well, folks, if we look at the charting for like 99% of BSC tokens, what happens? There's one giant spike that lasts for a day or two, and then it goes sharply down. And if it's lucky, it averages out a bit higher than from where it was before the initial spike, right? Now, are there few exceptions to this rule? Absolutely, there are. Do I think that a few BSCs have the potential to go long, make a long term of it, make a long term go of it? Yes, I do. But those are going to be very much the exception. Okay. So another thing that I teach about investing in BSCs, when you see a pop, don't be afraid to sell and just keep it moving. Don't connect yourself to these Discord and Telegram communities for all these different BSCs. It's only going to drag you down. It's only going to put you statistically in a cycle to lose, right? So right. Just if you're gonna go there, guys, if you see a decent spike on your BSC, don't be afraid to cash out and keep it moving. What I've done, I'll cash out I'll cash out at those spikes on some of my little BSC investments, and then I'll roll it 9 times out of 10. I roll those profits over into my Ethereum, into my Bitcoin, into my Dogecoin, most importantly. So yeah, not to go on a tangent there, but to bring it back,
Yeah.
what factor is this? What are these new factors going to have going forward, which is the wild card factor? From everything I've seen, and I would love to get, maybe Nick can dovetail off of this, but I think on our next big bull run, I think things are going to tighten up really quickly. I think there's going to be a lot of focus going back into our utility coins, the top utility coins, and I think there's going to be a purging of a lot of BSCs are just going to fail very quickly and fall by the wayside on the next bull run. Right now, people are frustrated, they're bored, and it's during those times that they start entertaining fringe tokens and things like this. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it can be healthy provided you're having fun. Folks, if you're not having fun in your BSCs, it means you've invested too much.
Absolutely. And before we continue any further, guys, if you love Dogecoin and cryptocurrencies, smash up the like button. And if you want to get access to my day trade alerts when I'm buying and selling cryptocurrencies, you want to talk to me on the phone, we can build you a portfolio. I teach technical analysis via video lessons and much more. Definitely check out the Patreon. We also have a 4,000 member Discord chat group community where we talk about Dogecoin and cryptocurrencies. And make sure you all follow STEELE on YouTube. Check out his Twitter as well, and Nick BALLZ, his Instagram and Twitter. So getting back to the chart, I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom in the chart here. Now, the funny thing to mention is, everyone's thinking because cryptos have fallen down, it's going to take years and decades for it to get back up. But let me remind everyone here, on the left side of the screen was the last time that Bitcoin went all the way to 42,000 and went to 30,000. We're in the same exact range, but we're actually trading higher than that previous consolidation or the correction period, as we want to call it. But if we take a look at the chart, I can measure how long we were in that downwards momentum. From the top, we were all the way down for a period of 19 days. We were in a downtrend for 19 days. Interesting, right? And from that bottom, we hit a bottom and went all the way up pretty much to 65,000. But without any stop, we went all the way from 28,000 all the way to 58,000. And let me show you how many days that took, ladies and gentlemen. 30 days. 30 days. Bitcoin double. That's Bitcoin. We're not talking about Ethereum. We're not talking about anything else. Bitcoin 100% in 30 days. Cryptocurrencies have the power and ability to do just that in an even shorter time and an even greater span. And if Bitcoin can do that, how much more can Dogecoin and Ethereum pump? So here we have cryptocurrencies, they're boring, right? They're trading sideways and, not much really going on. But any second, these cryptos can take off. So that's when it comes to investing, the best time to buy it is, I'm not giving financial advice, just my own opinion. The best time to buy is when things are down, when things are boring, when everyone forgets about it. Because when everyone's bored about it and forgets about it, that's what the institutions are trying to do. They're trying to drag this thing out as long as possible to get people to sell and to think, oh, it's not going up anymore. That gets people to sell. When people lose faith in something, why would people, consider the people that are selling are the people that have been investing for a month, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. They bought at the top. They buy and, they only have a couple $1,000s to their name. And the only amount of money they even have is probably invested and they're already down 50%, 40% is just doing nothing. It's going down and down. And they see all this bad news. They're like, oh my gosh, it's, China's banning this and that. Let me go ahead and sell before this thing goes any lower. That's the general sentiment that these whales and institutions are trying to do. They know cryptos are going up. They know the future. They see the future. It's very clear. Bitcoin is the best performing asset of the last 10 years. On average, Bitcoin every single year from the last 10 years has gone up 200%. There is nothing you can buy that will make those type of gains. And that's just Bitcoin. We're not talking about Ethereum, which always outperforms Bitcoin. So just an interesting note to take to let you all know that, cryptos can pop up any second. So right now, this is the best time to buy. This might be the lowest point we ever see cryptos again. Nick, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, Myles, I think, I've been saying this for a few weeks now. This is one of the oddest bull cycles we've ever seen. We do have major institutions waiting on the sidelines. We know Elon confirmed Tesla is going to accept Bitcoin again. Like, this is a thing that is going to happen. There was some news that came out today about Amazon accepting crypto, which has been in the talks for quite some time. But I can't, they're a behemoth of a company. I couldn't imagine Amazon not taking advantage of the crypto market. They'd be leaving so much money on the table just in fees. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the strangest bull cycles that I've ever witnessed in 9 years of doing this. I tend to be bullish. I mean, I'm bullish long term, no matter what. I'm always going to be bullish on Dogecoin. I'll probably always hold, at least a few million Dogecoin. That sounds crazy, but I'll probably always keep a few million Dogecoin just to have. But yeah, I think there's still some legs to the run that we're on, and there's no reason why these large corporations, and especially banks, like, these massive ETFs, Grayscale, these large, institutions, why would they be in this game? Like, these are companies that are their only goal is to make money. They wouldn't be playing these markets unless there was profits to be made. So, and they're all getting in right now,
Right.
So it's a very odd bull cycle. And I know Crypto Face owes BitBoy like 13 grand if the market goes up. And if you listen to him, he's like, I hope it does. I hope it does. I hope it does too. The one thing is for sure, we will know soon. We will know sooner rather than later. I don't think that we are going to see the market continue to trade sideways like the level that we're at for a long time. Like, it's going to do one thing or it's going to do another. Me personally, I've told Steven this before. When we were trading sideways from when Dogecoin hit 8 cents to when it was just trading between 5 and 7 cents it was like, I think it was 3 months.
Right.
Right there. I made $20,000 day trading during that period because it was so predictable.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't mind. Like, you know what? I don't mind if the market goes up. I'd love for it to go up. I'd prefer it not to go down. But if it just keeps going sideways, that's fine too. Like, I can make money on most of those opportunities. So you just got to look at the market and look at it doing what it's doing is an opportunity, and don't be afraid to be able to be flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, corrections generally don't last. This is one of the longest corrections we've had in a bull cycle. It's the second longest. Corrections generally don't last as long as this. And I feel like, this correction, the reason why things have gone down wasn't due to natural causes and, natural flow of, cryptocurrencies in the financial markets. It was man-made. It was manipulated. We have a tweet by Elon Musk. That started a lot of FUD, that caused a lot of fear. And then we had China, and then we had the media just drilling all this negativity about Bitcoin. And they were also selling at the same time. So there's so many factors that took to place causing the market to go down. It didn't go down because of a natural cycle for things to correct and, people taking profits. It was a direct, basically, attack on cryptos to try to manipulate it. Unfortunately, that's my opinion.
Well,
Steve.
and keep in mind too,
go ahead.
Bitcoin, the crypto markets in general, but primarily Bitcoin, Bitcoin is at where it's at now with like all of the miners being unplugged in China.
Mhm.
That's insane. Like the fact that a majority of Chinese miners are sitting on container ships on their way to the US and other countries right now and not mining, the market being where it's at right now is a testament to the resilience of what this market really means. I think there's just more factors involved that are keeping the price stable than we even know about. A lot of that has to do with institutions, but a ton of that has to do with Chinese manipulation and Chinese government interference. I don't think that's necessarily I mean, people will say it's a bad thing, and yeah, it did cause a massive market dump, but fine, get it out of the way.
Mhm.
Like, let's get past China doing whatever it wants to do. I'm sick of China manipulating the market. Let them have their own crypto. I don't care. Plug their miners in over here. Get Elon to hook up some deal with solar cells and these guys. Create solar farms for all of their mining rigs. I'm all for that. Let's start a new age of getting away from one country dominating the hash rate. I think that is super, super important.
Steve, do you have anything to add on all of what was just recently said?
Sure. I would dovetail off of what Nick said. Just lastly, there, I think it was a really great point. Just as we want to move out of Bitcoin dominance long term, I think it's good to move out of Chinese dominance long term and its relation to how it affects the crypto market. It's great to hash this out now, get it out of the way now. One big silver lining to that aspect, that factor in particular, is we right now are on the precipice of major Bitcoin and crypto mining explosion here in the United States. And Texas, 1 year from now, we will likely be looking at the state of Texas as being the epicenter of Bitcoin mining in the entire world, the entire globe, which is great news. Another thing is, too, something that Elon has expressed concern about in the past is the carbon footprint and energy efficiency in relation to Bitcoin mining. Well, now it's close already, near 60% of all Bitcoin being mined right now is being done so more energy efficiently and in more greener ways. So I'm not really concerned about big radical environmental impacts of Bitcoin mining, let alone Dogecoin mining, which takes up just a mere fraction of energy that Bitcoin takes up, which is another advantage to it. But we are seeing also a very rapid explosion and adaptation to green mining efforts as well, which is awesome. So and we are also seeing mayors now of major cities, major metropolitan areas right now setting up infrastructure, planning for a future with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, making sure they are imposing policies and things now to make their cities very crypto friendly. Again, the long-term trajectories and all this look very positive. I'm not concerned at all. It's another reason why I like having Nick on my show too, because he has a more unique perspective than the rest of us. This is a guy who, for whatever reason, may have the foresight to invest in dog money and take out a loan from the bank, which I wouldn't recommend for most people. But he took out a loan from the bank and he invested it in dog money in 2014. And so, if Nick doesn't sound nervous with millions of dollars on the line, chances are you should feel more relaxed. just at that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And before I continue the subject, Bitter Blues, thank you for the super chat. Can you talk about Grayscale and which direction their crypto investors are going with their holdings in the near future? From what I've been hearing, well, as many of you may already know, you don't know, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is the largest holder of Bitcoin in the entire world, if I'm not mistaken. But one direction that they're definitely looking forward to move to is they're getting into other altcoins. I think they just opened up a Cardano trust. I'm sure Dogecoin will be included in that list here in the near future, which will be really good. That's potentially billions of dollars or how many hundreds of millions at least into Dogecoin as a minimum, to give exposure to people that don't really have access to Coinbase and things like that. So you have a lot of money that's invested in Fidelity investments, E-Trade, traditional financial institutions, big money. And the people with these big money, they're generally older people. They've been investing in stocks and ETFs and mutual funds, pretty much ever since they've been investing. And cryptocurrencies is very new. It's very foreign. It's very alien to the older generation. So a lot of these older people are, in fear to investing in a cryptocurrency. So we're starting to see that movement. There's actually a movement of older people, that older generation is starting to accept a portion of their portfolio into cryptocurrencies. So Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is actually a stock that you can buy in the New York Stock Exchange, among other trusts, that other crypto trusts that they do have. They do have an Ethereum trust. I've invested into a couple of them. But it allows people that are in that whole old school mentality as far as investing is concerned to gain exposure to cryptocurrencies. So they're moving forward with that, and it helps really a lot to get that older generation, to get more people involved with crypto. That's how I got involved in crypto. I was buying Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and the Ethereum trust that they had. And I was like, I want to start actually just investing in crypto. But it's nice. It's comfortable if you have millions of dollars or however much money you have. It's on Fidelity. It's trying to sell it and sell stocks and move it out and do those types of things. It's kind of scary. It's not very comfortable moving money around like that. So where they're going with it is they're definitely getting more people. They're growing, and they're also going to be potentially the first Bitcoin ETF holder, which will be really good. Bitcoin ETF they're definitely working on it. The SEC is kind of like stalling the plans of that, but a Bitcoin ETF will allow other Bitcoin and crypto ETFs to happen, which will bring trillions of dollars into the crypto market space. So in order for there to be ETFs, there's financial institutions, they have an ETF, which is a stock you can buy in the stock exchange, but you're basically investing whatever the type of ETF is. If it's a Bitcoin ETF, you're able to actually buy Bitcoin through a stock, but you don't have the actual ownership of that currency. You have a virtual ownership to a degree, and you pay a premium, but it still allows you to gain access to that cryptocurrency. So, potentially they're going to be the first ones to do that. And if that does happen this year, that'll have a substantial effect in a good way to cryptocurrencies, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So, Nick, do you know anything about Grayscale?
Yeah, I
add to
know.
that?
It's so funny that you invested in Grayscale first. I think that's hilarious. If I was going to create a Bitcoin fund geared towards old people, I would definitely call it Grayscale too. I think that's the perfect name for that. I think it's great. And clearly, the unlock didn't really affect the markets because, as many would know, if people decided to sell their shares through the unlock process at the time that they unlocked, they'd be down about, I don't know, it was 40% or something. So it wouldn't really make sense. So I don't think the market really saw that much of a correction from the Grayscale unlock. I think it was this big, massive, they're the largest holder of Bitcoin, and everybody freak out because they could sell. But it didn't happen, because if you sold, you'd be losing money.
Right.
So you know what? I like what Grayscale's doing. I hope that they get their, I hope the SEC gets their act together and really allows them to maximize their customer base potential. And I think that, there's a lot of people out there, my grandma, her friends, all these people, all they do is read, by the way, guys, there's old people magazines still out there. My grandma gets them, and all they say is about how bad cryptocurrency is. It's the devil, and, wow. But through these kind of avenues like Grayscale, it allows people who might not be as tech savvy as you or myself or Myles or Steven to get into these, into these cryptos and feel comfortable that they're being managed by a company that is, being ran and has, standards to uphold to. It's almost like Robinhood without Vlad, and it's not as risky, and their servers don't go down every day. So I think Grayscale and those, hopefully some, if they are allowed to create their ETF, we'll see, other companies take advantage of that too. And I think that's great for the crypto market long term.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, so 24x Blitz asks, are you guys not worried that one person owns like 28% of all Dogecoin? What do you think about that? How would you answer that, Steve?
Well, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that 28% is an exchange wallet, by the way it behaves. And so what's important to understand is the effect that an exchange wallet has on the market versus what just a single individual unaffiliated with an exchange would have with that percentage. Have two very different effects and consequences on the market. Obviously, why does an exchange have so much Dogecoin, or why would it have so much of a percentage of a particular coin? Well, it's their inventory. They need a lot of inventory to have on hand for their customers to purchase. That's why it's there. So the effect that has on the market is not a negative one. It's not a positive or negative one. It is what it is. It's serving a function. Go ahead.
Keep
Nick.
in mind too, that 28% is factoring all Dogecoin ever mined. That number, 28%, is kind of inaccurate because there are literally billions of Dogecoin that have been lost. Just like Bitcoin, there's millions of Bitcoin that are gone. People have locked away or died or lost their passwords, or wallets have disappeared. So that the 28%, it's probably a little bit less than that. And again, this is an exchange operating. So you know what? Exchanges are part of they're always going to be part of the atmosphere for every crypto. They're always going to be there. This is where people buy, trade, sell, and do their daily operations. They need to have cryptos on hand. The other option, if you don't have exchanges, if you get in a situation like with Robinhood, where they're, basically I don't know how the government is regulating this, because you're not actually holding anything. And this is how we get in these situations. So I don't mind exchanges having large wallets on the blockchain. It doesn't bother me at all. I wish there was more transparency there, especially with US exchanges. I understand that there's countries in the world that'll let exchanges get away with a lot more than others, Malta. But for the most part, I think there should be some level of transparency. And I think Robinhood is avoiding that transparency by not going public. I think once they go public, they'll have to disclose all of this stuff. And I think that is opening them up to showing their hand. And that could ultimately lead to other companies, coming in and trying to scoop up a portion of the market that they control. And this is all like corporate warfare stuff. But you get, these are the things CEOs are thinking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also important to know that it's noteworthy that Ethereum whales hold about 68% of the total supply. So this idea that wallets are a make or break factor, in my opinion, is a false one. So,
Steve, how do you feel about future crypto regulations? Are they going to be good or bad? What do you think the regulations are going to entail?
I'm not sure, but what I do know is this. I think that for where things are right now, I think a little bit of regulation coming in would probably be a good thing, just to cover the very basics, like rug pull prevention and people being held accountable by the law for the most dubious practices within crypto. I wouldn't be opposed to something like that. Much beyond that, then you can get into a real slippery slope kind of situation where the government could certainly start overexerting, overregulating, stagnating markets, stagnating opportunity, and I'm certainly opposed to that. So I'm not opposed to all regulation. I personally would actually like to see a very bare minimum, just to, like I said, to prevent and hold accountable the most egregious behaviors within the market. Much beyond that, I'm pretty skeptical of. What do you say, Nick?
Yeah, I'm very pro capitalism and pro, you know, I'm not very for regulation. I should say that. Unfortunately, the world that we live in, regulation occurs first to the most high valued operations. I don't think, and personally, what I think is going to happen on July 28th is a big fat nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Here's why. The SEC is so directly tied into other facets of the U.S. government, primarily the FBI. They work hand in hand. And you know who loves Bitcoin and loves crypto? The FBI. Why? Because you can easily track anyone who's pulling scams and stealing money. It's happening right now. That pipeline that went down in the South, where the hackers demanded Bitcoin, they sent it to them. They figured out right where they are, and they arrested those guys immediately, and they took all the Bitcoin back. So I don't think we're going to see anything. I think that regulation, the bare minimum types of regulations, should fall upon some of the larger institutions, primarily exchanges. Unfortunately, is that going to create, a type of scenario where we see like a downtrend in the market because people are going to be afraid they're not going to be able to like skirt markets, like use Binance and VPN in and do all this kind of wacky stuff? Maybe. But I think that ultimately, the less the government has to get involved, the better. And I really wish that a lot of these token projects, a lot of these token creators, primarily BSC, because that's where we see a majority of the problems, would do a little bit of self-regulation. They won't. They'll never do it. But I would like to see them kind of self-regulate a bit. That way, it just keeps the overall market healthier.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. So where do you all think that Dogecoin, institutions, especially since the last year, moving on to a little bit different topic, but same subject, institutions last year, based on the stock to flow model for Bitcoin and a lot of other analytics, were inferring that Bitcoin might hit 300K. Bitcoin was going to hit 1 million. Bitcoin was going to hit 500K by, this coming winter and so forth. Do you think those projections now are going to be adjusted at a lower rate based on the long correction that we've had now? What do you all, Steve, we're going to start with you, Steve, but do you think there's going to be an adjustment in some of those predictions? I personally thought Ethereum was going to hit 20 or 30K based on those type of numbers. I'm definitely going to adjust my price predictions, especially for Dogecoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin a little bit. But what do you all think as far as, end of the year predictions for Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and as far as like adjusting what last year all these banks and people were saying?
Great question. I think that my predictions are going to be probably more modest than both of you guys. I think that there's a pretty significant readjustment from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Doge. Now, that doesn't lessen my long-term bullishness about all three of these. Let me be very clear about that. And I still do think by the time we're sitting at the end of the year, we're going to see some significant increases in all three from where things stand now. But what's that going to look like? Bitcoin at 100,000 end of year? And I do not think so. I think I'm looking, if I have to give a ballpark on Bitcoin, I'd put it closer to maybe 60, 65.
Okay.
And then Ethereum, maybe 7, 8. And then Doge, I don't know, but I guess I'd put Doge anywhere from end of year between 65 and 80 cents. I don't feel comfortable being much more specific than that.
So you're not one of those Doge to 500 by the end of the year guys?
No, yeah. If you see, I'm not one of those thumbnail titles guys. It's just like Doge to $100 today. Become a Doge billionaire today.
Oh my god.
Doge 1000x by noon.
I love it. That clickbait.
Oh my
Nick,
gosh.
what are your thoughts as far as that same question? Your predictions for cryptos at the end of the year.
Well, I'm pretty, I'm at this point where we're at, where we're standing now. I pretty much made my mind. And there's two scenarios really.
Yeah.
We're either going to, everything is going to dump off a cliff. Bitcoin's going to like 13K and everything's going to just take a nosedive. Or we're going to see another like a cycle within a cycle, which is what we're building the groundwork for right now. If this is the case, like a 400 or 500% run up, which is what Doge normally had been doing each time, about 400 to 500% from where we're at, would bring us to about $1. I believe that Dogecoin is worth $1. I don't think that's unreasonable. It puts us near, right under Ethereum. The connection between Ethereum is becoming stronger and stronger every day. I can't wait for that Twitch to come out with Ross and Vitalik. So I'm looking to, I told Steven, at the beginning of the year, I had sold a little bit. I made some money. I was trading. I made some money. But all together, I sold about 1 million Dogecoin. And now, granted, I have a lot more Dogecoin than the average person that is in crypto. But I don't want to give away any money. So I'm not looking to make any exits or anything like that. I'm not doing any major trading or anything until Doge is sitting near, at or near $1. My girlfriend always asks me, she's like, if it's at 93 cents, are you going to sell up? Probably. I'll probably sell 1 million. But I would really like to see Doge break the $1 barrier sometime this year. And I think it's possible. It's either going to happen and go in that direction, or everything's going to go off a cliff. It's one or the other. I don't see us trading sideways forever. But I do think that we are going to see one way or another some sort of movement. We've got a few catalysts coming up: Amazon, Tesla, the Ethereum bridge, and the new Dogecoin wallet is going to be released very, very soon too. So there are some factors in our favor. And I feel like the crypto markets are in this weird period where they're healthy, but they're not, but they're being supported. It's just a weird time. And I think we'll know more in the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure you guys smash up the like button and check out the Patreon if you want to get access to my daily trade alerts when to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. You can talk to me on the phone and much more. Now, continuing with the subject, we have financial institutions and, all of these banks said last year, Bitcoin is going to do this, Bitcoin is going to do that. And what were they basing it off of? What they were basing it off of is one word. It's called scarcity. There is a supply to Bitcoin. There is a supply to Ethereum. And there's also a supply to every other cryptocurrency. But specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum, what's happening with the supply is there is a major supply shortage. When there is a supply shortage, as we can see in the housing market, we can see in the car market, the used car market, things tend to go up very fast. And because of an economic phenomenon called supply and demand. So what these bankers and institutions and analysts, why they were saying Bitcoin is going to hit 300K, 200K, and it doesn't even matter what the price is now, is Bitcoin is going to hit those numbers. It might happen this year. I think Bitcoin will hit 120, maybe 150. It really depends on what happens, the next couple of months and this and that. But there's a huge supply shortage for Bitcoin. And that supply shortage is only going to continue to grow, as it only continues to grow ever since Bitcoin was created. And every 4 years, there's a halving event where the Bitcoin mining rewards are cut in half every single 4 years. So that also is an issuance to the supply shortage. And I don't want to try to pull it up on the chart here, but basically what's happening is there's such a supply shortage that the supply continues to go down and down and down and down. And the way it's going down and the way there is a supply shortage is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies like Ethereum are being removed on the exchanges. We can actually look it up in just a second. But whenever Bitcoin and Ethereum, whenever cryptos, especially a limited asset like Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to be deflationary, it's going to be almost a limited asset. When the balance on the exchanges is being removed, that means that people are putting it into hardware wallets or cold storage because they're holding and they're believing into it long term. So that's one of the reasons why, these bankers and institutions were saying cryptos are going to hit those type of numbers. Now, I think, personally, I was hoping Bitcoin to hit 300K by the end of the year, in this July. And based on the stock to flow, which Bitcoin has always has followed until now, Bitcoin was also projected to hit those type of levels along with that. So there's a lot of analytical data to prove where Bitcoin is going to end up in the long run. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies aren't a get rich quick scheme. It takes time to invest and it takes time for these things to move up. But the summer is generally and pretty much always in any type of financial market slow. It's always very slow. They say in May, stay away. That's what happened. In May, things crash. It happens every single May, every summer. There's a big correction where things just go down, especially in the stock market, because people are traveling. Money isn't moving like it is towards the end of the year. So if all that money, there's more people in crypto now than there was last year. There's much more people that are in crypto than when there was 3 months ago. There's more institutions, there's countries. There's going to be more countries. There's major, like Amazon. We have Apple, who potentially bought cryptocurrencies. So we're having a massive exodus, not only from retail people buying in and not only from JP Morgan buying Bitcoin and Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. There's now a massive exodus to pretty much entities, businesses to go into cryptocurrency. And that's going to help with that supply shortage to bring it up, to make it a more of a limited asset. So I personally think and know that cryptocurrencies can snap in a second. Bitcoin can go from 30 to 50K in 10 days. It can happen. Dogecoin can go, as we've seen it, from 14 cents to 72 cents in a matter of days. So, we have to, if you're trying to trade, you have to time the market and you have to be responsible and have to have an exit strategy, when to take profits, if you want to make the most of your money, or you can continue to hold and be long-term, because these cryptocurrencies, 5 years down the road from now, are going to probably see similar gains in what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies saw 5 years previous to where we are now. What do you all have to think about that? We'll start with you, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, as speaking of someone who's day traded and swing traded before, I just saw Raymond's comment here. People thought when I bought Dogecoin in 2014, at the beginning of 2014, I was buying at a market high at 0.0007. People thought I was crazy. That was 7 years ago. And I turned, that $10,000 turned into multiple millions of dollars. So I don't think for the average person, the average retailer out there in the crypto markets, I think that most of you should be buy and hold people. Unless you are like Myles, very good at technical analysis and you know exactly what you're doing, trying to time all these things and getting the timing perfect, or when these things shoot up, they shoot up quick, and it's really hard to figure out what the top. It's easy to say what when you're at a bottom. It's hard to say what a top's going to be. So I do think that crypto has a bright, long future ahead of it. And just like you said, as scarcity becomes more and more prevalent over time, I believe that all these factors will kind of culminate into a greater and brighter future for crypto altogether. But this is a long-term kind of thing. And
right.
If you're going to dump in money and hope that you're a millionaire tomorrow, it didn't happen to me, and it doesn't happen to 99% of people who get into crypto. There's stories of people who got in on Dogecoin at like, a few cents or a fraction of a cent a year ago, and it just popped off and they made a ton of money in a year. But those stories are so uncommon. And even then, if you're in the United States, you still have to break the 12-month threshold for taxes. So keep that in mind too, that if you're going to be buying these things and they go up in price and you want to sell, if it's been less than 12 months, you're going to get taxed up the wazoo. So just keep that in mind. I tell everybody that I run into, if they're just playing with, not crazy money, you should be watching your sells, and you should really think about, if I'm going to buy this, just like in the stock world, stock guys will tell you, if you go to any major fund or, any like brokerage, they'll get your risk assessment level done first. And they'll tell you, can you hold on to something for 12 months? Like, do you need this money this year? Because you're going to avoid a lot of taxes if you don't. And I'd advise everybody that is not like a professional trader, if you're getting into crypto, don't be moving in and out of these markets. Figure out what the best price is, maybe make 50% of your investment and then hold 50% of your original planned investment in cash. That way you can take advantage of dips when they come. I think that's the smartest scenario for most people.
Steve, any thoughts?
Sure. As you well know, Myles, anytime that there's a significant increase in the market, and whether you're going live or all the comments and questions come in, and what always happens is it too late? Is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to buy? Suddenly everyone wants to jump in when there's a sharp increase in the market value. It's not the most optimal time to buy, I'll tell you that. But that being said, you can also waver so much and think yourself out of great future opportunity. In terms of you could just really overthink it. For example, I've bought in anywhere from a little below 2 cents to 2 cents to I even bought up to 29 cents. And the thing is, I'm not worried about that at all. When someone asks, is now a good time to buy in? And my first question to them is, it depends how long you're willing to hold. Okay. If you're looking to just flip it and make good money in the course of a couple weeks or a couple months, chances are you probably shouldn't invest. Please don't. In fact, don't, because you'll inevitably turn into one of the more annoying members of the community. However, if you believe that we do here between Myles, Nick, and myself, that whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Doge, or XRP, or whatever, that these digital currencies are going to be worth exponentially more in 12, 24, 36 months from now, then yeah, I don't think your future self is going to be losing many nights of sleep about a few pennies difference on your buy-in points on Dogecoin. So those are my thoughts.
Awesome. How are you guys in time? You guys good?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. So I definitely want to get to this super chat. Raymond, thank you very much for the $25 super chat. Thanks for the videos and the live bought in at 54 cents, just waiting for a rocket, who knows how long it'll take. It might could happen in a day, could happen in a week, a month. We don't know, but we definitely, if we understand where cryptos are, where they're headed, the type of catalyst that Dogecoin has behind it, the people behind it, there's a massive movement. We have Elon Musk. He has 60 million followers on Twitter. He moves markets with just a GIF or a meme, and when Elon said that, hey, even when Elon changed his profile picture to Doge shades, that moved billions of dollars in seconds, so Elon Musk definitely has an impact in the market. I think Elon Musk definitely wants what's best for cryptocurrencies, and Dogecoin included. So, it's not going to be, personally, I don't think it's going to be that much longer before we can get back up to 54 cents. Now, what do you all think about, so we have Amazon, we have Apple. There's going to be other people in the future that are going to accept cryptocurrencies. And Apple right now, what they said is that they're working on a custody, some type of, you know, Apple crypto, so that you can, like Apple Pay, if you have an iPhone or something, you can just send money through Apple Pay to people and they can receive it and send it to their bank account. And you know, Apple, they're creating their own custody service so that for people with iPhones and Apple products, they can just simply buy Dogecoin or Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of these cryptocurrencies. How do you all feel that, you know, as we're starting to see this each and every week, there's somebody new accepting Bitcoin. Some bank is accepting Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And it's really good to see the Bitcoin news. That even if you only hold Dogecoin, you don't care about Bitcoin. You should care about Bitcoin, because what happens with Bitcoin is it shows you like kind of like it's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to Dogecoin. When you see all of these people jumping into Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the gateway drug. It's like getting your feet wet, and it exposes you to other cryptocurrencies. You first get into Bitcoin, and you know, you're like, wow, this is kind of cool, but like, what's this Ethereum here? And wow, Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin. And like, wow, what's Dogecoin? It has like this whole community behind it. There's all these memes, and it like goes up 50% in a single day. That's crazy. You know, so people like start to get exposure to that. But what do you all think as we're seeing this continual adoption, just like I said, every single week? Countries, institutions, banks. How do you feel like that's going to affect the overall crypto market? Especially like, what do you all think about like Amazon? Now they're looking to hire a crypto person. Apple, a couple weeks ago, they're looking to hire a crypto person. We're starting to see this. What do you all think is in the store of the future as far as that's concerned?
I think, go ahead, Nick.
I think that, you know, these major, you know, Amazon's like the largest retailer on earth. If they don't get on board soon, they're going to be left in the dust by other companies who are willing to adopt. We've seen this time and time again. This isn't just with crypto. This has been happening since the dawn of time. Companies that don't adopt new and emerging tech get left behind. They leave a kink in their armor. They expose themselves to not opening up the possibility to move into the future. This happened with, you know, the .com boom, and this happened before that with automobiles. I was talking with my grandma the other night. She was like, "There was always people way back when who said, you know, like the horse and buggy's never going to go away. It's, you know, like it's here to stay." And then the car came, and they were like, "Well, this isn't going to last. These cars aren't going to be here for long." And that, you know, so this has been happening for forever. These larger, gigantic retailers, Apple, Amazon, they need to adopt crypto, and they need to do it soon, because the world is moving very quickly. The markets are moving very quickly. And the faster that they can integrate these things, and doesn't, I mean, for them, it's a monster undertaking to be able to do this kind of stuff. It isn't. They've got the capital to do it. It's just making the time and putting the investment in. I think a lot of larger companies were afraid to pull the trigger. However, after, you know, the bull run we just saw was basically because Amazon was like, or I'm sorry, Tesla was like, "We'll do it," you know. And that just caused a cascade of other companies to be like, "We're on board too." So yeah, I think Amazon and Apple especially, as soon as we see that start to open up, you know, that's when we're going to start seeing like some crazy numbers in the markets, like really crazy numbers.
Yeah, Steve, where do you see cryptos in 5 years? Not only like, yeah, you can talk about like price predictions, but where do you see the utility of cryptos, like from where it is now? Like, you know, just a year ago, barely anybody really knew about cryptocurrency. Of course, everyone heard about Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum, maybe a couple more, just the average Joe. But now everyone knows about Bitcoin. It's all over every news article. Everyone knows about Dogecoin for the most part. People might know more about Dogecoin than Bitcoin. So now people know it. A lot of people, if you go to the gym or just random people, a lot of people hold like, you know, Dogecoin, or they have some type of involvement to like some of the altcoins. Generally, the retail is smart. The smaller retail investors, they have more experience to the altcoins because of the price of Bitcoin. So we're starting to see more people invest. We're starting to see companies, like small little companies, start to accept Bitcoin. Where do you see cryptos in 5 years, Steve?
I seeing it kind of like a accepted, normalized form of checking out everyday purchases, large and small. I really don't see it complete. Like I don't think it's going to be like a complete takeover, even long term, of other options. But I think it's going to be as common in 5 years' time. I think it's going to be very normalized in terms of working right along the side in tandem with fiat and credit card options, and then you're going to have your crypto checkout options right along the side of those options. And I think companies like BitPay are going to continue to explode in popularity because one very important function that a company like BitPay performs is it takes a lot of the risk out from the companies that are adapting to cryptocurrency. So if there are any price fluctuations between the time of a purchase and the processing of that purchase in terms of if someone paid with a cryptocurrency, BitPay incurs that. And on the flip side, they make any gains off of those same processes. Also, the longer crypto goes on, the more the markets are going to stabilize. We are still in 2021. I believe history is going to look back on a year like 2021 and still consider this to be a ground floor level of getting into crypto. I think we are very fortunate still. I think all of us that are participating here right now in crypto right now and investing in crypto, still, even people coming into the space right now in the 2021, I believe long term are still getting in at a ground level. And this goes back to Nick's analogy, wherein when he purchased his Dogecoin in 2014, at that time it was considered an ATH, and it was considered foolish for someone to jump in at that time, right? So
crazy, I know, right?
Right. So yeah, I guess that's where I see it going, and I wish that BitPay had an IPO or something. I'd probably invest in it.
And we're just about to wrap up. Just have a couple more questions.
Sure.
But Steve, so every time you purchase something with cryptocurrencies, it becomes a taxable event. That's definitely a deterrent to anyone to want to maybe use some type of buying cryptocurrencies with this or that, especially like the smaller events, like $1 or $20, whatever it is. Do you think regulations in the future will potentially help to make that not so complicated? So you have to report this and that, and you think it's going to be a lot easier? What do you think?
So do I think regulation is going to stabilize excessive taxation?
Or do you think in the future, as far as like taxation is concerned, to every time you make a purchase with a cryptocurrency, it becomes a taxable event to my knowledge.
Right.
So, that deters people from using cryptos to purchase things. So do you think in the future it's going to be easier or better?
It's going to have to be. And I think this is an important thing to bring up because I really think this needs to be a question that we demand from our elected leaders to hold them accountable to this, because legislation has to change wherein cryptocurrency is treated just like any other currency, wherein right now, because of the way it's perceived and set up now, it's a big disadvantage in terms of the taxation process goes. And that needs to change. And these are questions we need to start asking our elected leaders. Where do they stand on this stuff? And if they don't even know where they stand, or if they don't know anything about cryptocurrency at this stage, well, that's a pretty good indication that perhaps they shouldn't be holding elected office, in my opinion.
Right.
So yeah.
And the good thing is, there's actually elected officials that are for cryptocurrencies and are
Yes.
definitely trying to help it, even in the SEC. So that's cool to see.
Yes.
But Nick, pretty much last question here. Where do you see cryptos in 10 years? What do you think
God.
cryptos look like in 10 years? Just give or take.
I mean, it's if I would have known that Dogecoin, was going to make me a multimillionaire, I certainly would have bought a lot more. It's hard to make a 10-year prediction on price. I will make a 10-year prediction on regulatory concerns. I think that in the next 10 years, mass adoption is inevitable. And I would hope that we would see some sort of governmental impact that would classify Bitcoin and crypto as possibly its own currency, and or create some sort of hold the exchanges accountable to the fact where, like, maybe if you want to have a wallet on BitPay, maybe, for a certain denomination, let's say, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever, small amount of money you want to take out of your main wallet, whether it be cold storage or on an exchange, there should be some sort of exemption for like yearly spending or something like that. I think we could see something like that happen within the next 10 years. And then again, as far as price goes, who knows, man? I take out wild bank loans, YOLO into stuff, and I'm like the worst person to ask for this. I luck out. Like, I'm like the luckiest dude at the casino. So I don't know. Dogecoin to $100. I don't know.
What about the use case? Where do you see in 10 years the use case of cryptos? Is it going to be like a regular currency that you can just go to Walmart and buy this or that with, and like, somebody just tinted your windows and you're gonna, just send them a couple $100 in Dogecoin,
I mean, we're already starting to see that, like that is already a thing. And there's some major retailers that already accept a lot of crypto. I think the use case is actually going to evolve with tech. I think that, like, technology, and right now we're seeing the NFT space kind of explode, but this is just the first wave of that. I think there's use cases in 10 years that we haven't even thought about yet, and that may not even, be technically possible. But I think in 10 years we're going to see some wild stuff with crypto. There's a car that mines, an electric car that mines crypto while you're not driving, or while you're driving. We're going to see some weird, wild stuff go on with crypto. And I think a lot of it is going to have to do with the renewable energy market. I think there's going to be a lot of incentive for these renewable energy companies to integrate cryptocurrencies into their platforms so that they can use their customer base as essentially like a depository for their like side funds and stuff. So people will essentially, like with Tesla, if you drive your Tesla, you'll be able to mine crypto with it. That will pay for upgrades and incentives for you to buy more things from that company at a reduced price, for either helping out the environment or mining. And I think we're going to start seeing stuff like that. Weird, exotic things are going to start happening with crypto in the next decade.
But what about, we have the inflation rate just going up and up and up. And the last 10 years, the US dollar has actually depreciated 99%. So, this is also a use case for cryptocurrencies, people as a hedge against inflation, which is going up extremely high. Maybe people are going to realize the errors of fiat currency and move their money into something that can actually hold and sustain its value. That's, one of the purposes for the creation of Bitcoin. How do you, Nick, how do you feel about that? What do you think about that?
That's something that we're starting to see now. And I think that's, Myles, you hit the nail on the head there. That's part of the reason why the markets are being propped up right now, is because the dollar is just tanking. I don't think people realize we are in for it. as far as like the inflation has just started. Like, it's not going to get better. We printed so much money last year and still this year. It is insane how much money we made out of thin air. And crypto is a great use case is to protect some of your some of your assets in a market that has the possibility to grow. We can say already with no doubt that keeping your money in crypto over the past decade was way better than keeping your money in a bank. Like, if you were just to put your money in any crypto like 10 years ago, you'd be way better off than if you ever put it in a bank. The more people that start to realize that, the better crypto will do. And I think the sense that crypto is a perfect hedge against inflation, that is, as long as it's not controlled by any central government, or there's, that's what worries me about things like Cardano and these corporations that start their own crypto. There's one guy at the helm, and that, that's another reason Dogecoin is great. We've got core devs, but they're all over the world. They're not like in a cabal to like control the price or the technology. They're all just kind of working to make sure that it's all running. Anytime you've got a CEO, anytime you've got a major figure in charge of the whole thing, like the federal government, you have issues and you can run into issues. And I think crypto is a great hedge against that.
Awesome. So yeah, let's have some concluding thoughts. Steve, anything you'd like to add before we head off?
Not really. Just, really thanks for having me on, Myles. This was a really great talk. And, overall, I would just say, I think the future is so bright. I got to wear Doge shades, guys. There's a lot to be optimistic about. I still think that we are in the infancy stages of this entire thing. And the less you get caught up in the everyday anxieties of your portfolio, the better, in my opinion. These are long-term investments we're talking about.
Yes.
Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Bitcoin particularly. And, what's great about channels that like Myles has built and that I've built and we're out here doing it every day is we're helping to keep people engaged on a daily basis and keep the Doge momentum pumping strong, right? Because we are the ones that determine the value. And if we decide Dogecoin's, enough of us decide it's worth $1, it will be worth $1. And so just keep the positivity going, guys. Keep the excitement going. And these are the kind of attitudes and the kind of vibes that bring in new investors as well. And I just think things look really good long term for Doge and Ethereum particularly. And thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming to the show. Looking forward to having you guys again. Nick, any final thoughts?
No, thank you so much for having me on, Myles. You're for people in the chat, Myles is a super cool dude, and he knows his stuff, especially when it comes to TA.
Agreed.
If you guys are out there looking for somebody to help build your portfolio, he is the guy to go to. Just want to say thanks for having me on. I do believe that crypto has an insanely bright future ahead. Specifically Dogecoin. I know I'm a little bit biased here. I've been in it for basically since the beginning. But one thing that Dogecoin proved in 2021 was that a community can come together and create its own momentum. And I think that going forward, if you're a part of the Doge community, it's awesome. It's so much fun. There's a lot of cool stuff going on all the time. There's always people making like hilarious memes, and it's just a good vibe. It's a good overall vibe. Not to say that doesn't exist in other places, but I don't think it's as cool. Like the Bitcoiners aren't as funny. And I feel really good about it going forward. And yeah, thanks for having me here.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming. Make sure you subscribe to both of their socials, especially Steven STEELE's live. He does live shows pretty much every single day about Dogecoin. Mm-hmm. So upshot out, guys.
Oh.